time for a couple of minutes with our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin, Harding & Mazzotti. Hey, Paul.
Good morning, Chuck. Good morning.
Hey, so Rotterdam police, they're being sued now. Back in October of last year, they responded to a call, Mohanison, the transportation. A student with special needs, I guess, threatened a bus driver and then refused to get off the bus. Cops forcibly took him off the bus. In so doing, broke his arm. I know you've reviewed the case. What are the issues involved here, and does the family have a good case here?
You know, when I first heard about this, it was suspect. I really did. I didn't hear all the facts, and there's a video online. I don't recommend everyone look at it.
It's gruesome.
It's a little tough to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think here they actually do. We have a situation where the police came on and they were very calm and they did a very good job trying to get him off the bus. But it was obvious he wasn't responding and he wasn't aggressive. He was unable to really comprehend what they were saying or doing. And then they went to take him off the bus and they pulled his arm back and broke his arm. I think here there was a different way to handle this sort of mentally handicapped young man.
So I'm wondering, I mean, sometimes you have to use force. This thing went on for a while. Is it that, I mean, so were they justified in using force but just used too much? That's the allegation?
Yeah, the excessive force is always the question. You know, did they do what they had to do? I think they could have navigated him off the bus is going to be the argument. Again, it becomes a question of a jury question, if it ever gets that, where my best guess is this case will resolve and settle, and the police looking at this are going to probably just kind of say, hey, at this point we did have some other options. We probably should have taken them. But again, they have a difficult position. They don't know a lot about this kid at that point. You know, he's a big kid. He's an average-sized kid. But looking at the video and looking at the facts, I think this is one that they just went a little too far.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to rough someone up in the process of getting them off the bus. It's another thing to use such force that you snap a kid's arm. That's pretty.
Right.
That's a lot of force.
And he just wasn't resisting. He just wasn't responding to them, almost ignoring them. But again, it's the mental disability. We don't know a lot about that. But they did have some other options, and I think next time they will consider those.
Speaking to our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin, Harding & Mazzotti on 810 and 103.1 WGY. Let's move to this case in Troy. I mean, every day there's a different bit of evidence being leaked to the public, and you know, it's almost like I almost feel like a juror where, you know, when the defense speaks, you're out for the defense, and then when you hear the prosecutor, you're for the prosecutor. But
sure.
I don't know. There's so many moving parts here. But let me ask you first of all here in New York State, if a cop tells you to get out of the bar or to put your hands on your head or something like that, and you refuse that command, is that against the law here?
Yeah, you start getting into that resisting arrest thing, you know. And again, you know, it's loud. You know, did you hear what the police officer said? Did you? You know, he's a police officer. It's not a question of is he. But yeah, they have a duty to respond. If the police ask you to do something, you do it. You got 200 people in the bar. You got, they said, 8 police there. And of course, that video, when you watch that video, at first take a little soundbite of that. It looks like it could be, again, the excessive force argument. But as information leaks out, there was a lot going on, and the police, you know, it looks like they may have found themselves a little in over their heads. You know, lots of folks, and things got aggressive. So here, unlike the Rotterdam case, as more information comes out, the fact there may have been excessive force here, you know, is kind of losing ground as I see it.
I think where the confusion lies, and I'm kind of with Chuck on this, is that if you're not being arrested, they're asking you to move along, and you're like, wait, I have to go get something at the bar, and they tell you no. I mean, do you have a right to go back in and get that? Or if you're a patron and this happens, I mean...
And it all depends how you do it, Kelly. I mean, it really is. I mean, in the purest sense, what you just said, sure. You know, listen, my sister's in there. She's not going to know how to get home. I have to go get her. You know, if conversation's going like that, you know, sure, now the police they're just kind of roughing you out the bar and saying don't come back in. But, you know, again, in the course of a melee is what's going on. So, yeah, it's going to be a question of proof. And when they look at it as a whole here, you know, I mean, the police got in there and they said, wow, you know, there's a fire extinguisher being emptied on them. They're getting pushed a little bit too. So yeah, you know, again, I think when they look at these things on video, they use them as training tapes and things, and they're going to say, wow, we could have done this a little bit differently too. But you do have a duty to respond to the officers, but they can't keep bullying you, sure. And that's going to be this fine line in this case. But it appears to be gaining more momentum on the side of the police. But again, not all the facts are in.
Well, I know we'll be talking to you again about this case. Paul, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Have a great one. Paul Harding from Martin, Harding, Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010.